Good morning, you guys. Alright, today is Sunday morning, about 8:20 in the morning, July 13th. We are currently westbound on the 210 freeway in San Bernardino. We are going to be making a delivery this morning to the Target DC in Rialto, pretty close by. Before we get there, we're going to be crossing under some railroad tracks here in just a minute. Right in this same area here is where an infamous train derailment occurred years ago. Basically, it was a runaway train that came down the Cajon Pass and got up to speeds of, I think, over 90 miles an hour. These tracks right here where they cross the 210. Now, the 210 did not exist, at least in this part of the this section of it, at the time of the crash. But yeah, right here where these tracks are at is basically where the train derailed. And the neighborhood right up here, right up the road here on the other side of there, is where the cars derailed into a bunch of homes there and destroyed a bunch of them. And I can't remember how many people died. But anyway, yeah, that was called the Duffy Street incident, if I remember right. Anyway, so yeah, just kind of a little gee whiz about the area. There's actually a Mayday, aircraft investigation or whatever that show's called, a documentary on that train derailment. You guys should check it out sometime if you're interested. Anyway, yeah, I wasn't really planning on vlogging today, but I don't know. I just had something random I could talk about that I came across my news feed today that caught my interest, and I just want to raise a question about this. See what you guys think about this. Now, people are going to feel a certain kind of way because of what's going on with the immigration raids and stuff, and also, to put it simply, Vice President JD Vance, he decided to go on a vacation with his family to Disneyland here in Anaheim. And I guess once they caught wind of it, a lot of protesters started showing up at the hotel that, the motel over there by the theme park that I guess he and his family were going to stay at, to protest, their views on the ICE immigration stuff. Alright, so I don't want to get too deep into the political woods here, okay? I don't do that kind of thing. But I will say I do tend to lean right, there are a lot of things that I might generally kind of agree with what Trump is trying to do, or understand what he's trying to do, even if I don't necessarily agree with it. But how he goes about it, I'm not at all a fan of. He's a loose cannon. He tries to circumvent the law and all that. I can't stand the guy personally, but. That said, JD Vance and everybody below the president who are in his chain of command have marching orders. So I might want to consider that here, right? Now, someone in the public who's a public figure like that, where do we draw the line between being decent and indecent as far as when it's okay to do what? If you want to protest, that's fine, but should that be a thing at all when he's just having a private family time? That's not work related. That's his time. To me, I'm not okay with that. I don't think that's a good time to be doing that kind of thing. Let the man have his time with his family. And I know that it probably gets even worse because there are a lot of there are probably people out there who are going to probably take stabs at his family as well, talk shit over just the fact that he's vice president. Okay, well, he still works for Trump. Now, you guys know I'm retired military. I had my marching orders for 20 years. it didn't matter if I agreed or disagreed with what was going on. If I had a lawful order that I had to follow, that I was given, I had to follow it. I was required by law to follow it, or by military regulations and all that too. So, so in that aspect, I kind of, that's part of why I agree. Now, I do also support First Amendment expression, but within reason. We're getting a little carried away with stuff, I think, when we're protesting somebody who's just trying to have private off-duty time with their family. Leave the man alone. That's my thought on it. Alright, we're off the freeway here at Alder Avenue. We're going to be making a left here and then another left onto, I think it's Renaissance Parkway or something along that. It starts with an R. That's all I remember. No, never know. So anyway, I don't get why people, where people think that's even okay to do. Like I say, I mean, and here's something else here. Something I learned from a friend of mine. I had no idea about. Now, a lot of you guys are familiar with the name Robert E. Lee, famous Confederate general. The most famous Confederate general, in fact, I would say. And, a lot of people have a lot of hate toward that name because of what he stood for. But and a lot of you guys, you probably don't know that, okay, he might have been Confederate, and he might have been like king hated person by the Union or whatever, practically, but did you guys know that he was personally anti-slavery? Yeah, believe it or not, he was not a fan of slavery. He actually, on a personal level, was in favor of freeing slaves. But he just happened to live on the wrong side of the Mason-Dixon line, and happened to, and he was basically a staunch supporter of patriotism, and he did what he could for his country, or his then country, the Confederate States, even if he didn't agree with everything they stood for. But, he had his marching orders. He might not have liked them, but he still followed them, and very strongly, and they were legal orders at the time. So he did what he had to do. But later on, his, I think it was his grandfather or something, dad or grandfather, somebody in his family was slave owner, and he had a plantation with a number of slaves on it, like some dozen plus slaves or whatever, I can't remember. When that person died, he inherited the plantation. And after he inherited it, he actually freed all the slaves that were there. So, yeah, I mean, it's personal level, but people don't know that about him. People don't understand that you have marching orders, you don't have to like them. You don't have to agree with them. But you do have marching orders, and you will follow them. Period. End of discussion. And that's how it is with JD Vance, perhaps. Now, I don't hear much with Vance. I don't know what his actual personal view is on what goes on, with Trump. But just try to keep that in mind. If you don't hear Vance publicly talking much about what his view on that is, then assume that he's just following orders. That would be the smarter thing to do, right? Anyway, we're at the Target, DC. We're getting checked in here. There should be the guard should be, he's coming out right now to check us in, and then we'll come up to the window. So once we get through checking in, we'll continue on here to the staging area. Alright guys, we're checked in now. We're going to go ahead and what we'll do next is go to the staging area, parking spot 49. That's our assigned spot. And we'll go into the office and check in, and they'll give us a dock door. The lot here is one way, so depending on where we dock in, well, obviously I'm going to want to dock in side though, so doesn't matter. If usually I get docked in over here on the south end, usually not far from the office, so see what we end up with this time. Alright, now last time I came here, there was an England driver who was parked in the spot, in my assigned spot. It was like the only one of only one or two trucks that were even here, so I don't know if I wouldn't make a big stink out of stuff like that. But yeah, generally, I guess if multiple trucks show up, it's still best to park in whichever spot they tell you to park in. 49. Alright, that's the third spot down here past this drop trailer. Alright, have plenty of room to do a straight back setup here. Just watching this guy here, looks like he's about probably at least as tall as I am. Almost perfect there. Its angle's a little bit off, but pretty well placed there. Not exactly centered in a spot, but as long as the tractor's close enough, so if anyone ends up in 48, they can do what they gotta do. Alright, let me go and get checked in here, and we'll get a dock door in a second. Okay. Alright guys, we're ready to dock in here. I'm going to slide 10 up real quick. And we're going to go into the same door right in front of us that this guy just pulled out of. I had to wake him up because he was sleeping in there. See, when you do deliveries here, the way they normally do things is, they'll unload you, and when you're all done, and you leave your doors closed and sealed, and then when you're done, they'll just send you a text message saying that you can leave. They already have signed bills on hand. If there are any issues with the load, they'll send you a text message saying to come back to the office. But if there aren't any issues, shit. He's trying to back in. I think he's trying to finish getting a break or rest, whatever he needs. Alright. Come on. Let's get over here pretty quickly. Alright, still need to get Towns a little bit more over to the right. Now it's might have a little, looks like we're all right. Looks like we're just about right. Yeah, looks pretty good. Anyway, yeah, you just get a text message, and you just leave as soon as you get the text saying that you're free to leave. Nope, nothing to do. We're good. Alright, so that's it. We'll just dock in. I don't even think there's a wheel chock or anything. We just they'll just lock us in with the lock system, and we'll sit here and wait. I'll have some more here. It's 8:52 right now. Got a 9 a.m. appointment. We'll see how long this takes. Alright guys, we're all done here. It is, about 1:30 now. So about 4.5 hours after appointment time, unfortunately. Not unexpected for Target though. I usually do expect Target deliveries to take about this kind of time. So if I get out of a Target delivery faster than that, I'm happy. Put it that way. We're gonna go ahead and pull out of the door. I gotta verify the trailer actually is empty. It should be, but I gotta double check it. And we'll call it a day here, right? We also got to slide our tandems back to the 40-foot mark. Go ahead and do that. I'm going to wrap this up here as well. So, just going to fill it back up with fuel, take it back to the yard, and go home, and then come back to the yard tomorrow for delivery in Carson. All right, you guys have a good day. I appreciate you watching. We'll see you guys next time.